I'm Jim Monahan from the WDHA Morning Jolt. I'm with Bobby from Guitar Repair Services, and instead of being at the radio station, we're actually here at Guitar Repair Services. You have some wonderful stuff here, including that Les Paul that is just amazing. But we want to talk about guitar effects today. I've been long fascinated by some of them. And I was saying to Bobby before we started filming today that you used to see racks and racks of things. And I know foot pedals have been around for a while, but I kind of liken it, Bobby, to computers where we used to have all these towers that we worked with. And now you've got something the size of this, which is basically a computer that happens to make phone calls. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about effects and how they've changed over the years.
Well, a lot of people are downsizing their gear today, especially touring guys that play clubs and things along those lines. They don't want to be hauling around racks full of processors and meaty equipment. So they're downsizing their rigs back to stomp boxes. And, you know, your average distortion and tube screamer type pedals, which is pretty much what every guitarist has on their pedal board, is coming back around today. It really is. They're doing more with less is basically what it is. You have your distortion pedals, you have your delays, you have your choruses, and you have a few incidental items, your wah pedals on your board, and that's pretty much what the average guy is touring with today, unless you're, you know, a professional musician and you have somebody taking care of it for you. But if you're doing it all yourself, then these little items here are the new thing that everybody is coming back to.
Now, distortion, are guys using that now because of what the amp can't give them?
Well, every amplifier has its own sound, tone. You know, there's a lot of companies out there who try to copy the old circuits of the old Voxes and Marshalls and Fenders, and they do their own thing with them, and you know, that's how they get their name known. But every amp has its own voice, and pretty much when you go to buy an amp, you're looking for a certain thing in it that, you know, that you are personally looking for in the type of music that you play. Whether it's a Fender, an old Fender amp, or a Marshall Plexi or whatever, they all have their distinct sound and tone. But there's points where you want to push that amp over the edge and get something a little bit more out of the amp, which is where the pedals come in.
So this goes to 11.
This goes to 11. And there's a difference between, you know, distortion pedals and overdrives. A distortion pedal and an overdrive are really two different things. Some people don't realize, you know, what really are they looking for when they're going to buy a pedal. Depending on the amp, you know, old Fender amps are very clean amps. They have a lot of headroom. Certain pedals will work better with those amps than other pedals. You know, this, for example, this is called a Tyler drive. This is made by John Britton, who makes these Tyler amps here. And this is his version of a tube screamer, like the old Ibanez tube screamers. And basically what this is designed to do is not really give you distortion. It's designed to hit the front end of the amp and drive the power section of the amp. It gives you a little bit over the edge, you know, sound that you normally wouldn't get just out of the amp playing it straight with a cord into the amp.
Did effects like these come about when the change originally happened from tube to solid state to try and get that more warmer sound of the tube?
Yeah, there's a huge difference between, you know, the sound of a solid state amp and a tube amp. There are certain pedals out there that were designed around a tube amplifier, and this being one of them. You know, the old Ibanez tube screamers from the late 70s, mid to late 70s, the holy grail now that everybody is getting $700, $800, $900 for on eBay. These are versions of the old tube screamers, and basically what they're designed to do is to, like I said, hit the front end of the amp and just give it a little bit more grit, a little bit more, you know, over the top, push the tubes a little harder. Where these, for instance, are a distortion pedal. This is going to give you a lot of distortion, you know, adjustable obviously by the dials, but two different animals. You know, a lot of people don't realize that when they play a tube screamer that they think that it's going to give them this huge amount of distortion going through an amp. It's not. That's not what it's designed to do. You know, Stevie Ray Vaughan made tube screamers really popular. He used them all the time, and that's the Stevie Ray Vaughan tone. Was the big amps and the tube screamers. And then you have the distortion pedals, which are over the top. You know, some of the pedals today, they give you so much gain and so much distortion. It's incredible.
Is it true that distortion pedals came as a result of guitar players, trying to imitate the sound of a saxophone?
Actually, what I believe is that distortion pedals, or distortion as it is today, was actually came from the Kings. It came from a blown speaker.
Oh,
in a speaker
really?
cabinet.
Okay.
Yeah. He actually didn't realize that he had a blown speaker in an amplifier, and the sound that he was getting out of the speaker was from a blown speaker cone. And that's what started the whole distortion thing. And then everybody tried to copy that, and they made it with pedals.
One of the first effects that I remember being aware of was what Jimi Hendrix was doing. At the time, I didn't know what it was called.
Yeah.
I just knew what it sounded like. It
Fuzz
sounded
faces.
like wah-wah. So you actually got a couple of wah-wah pedals here.
Yeah, these are Vox wahs. You know, there's different wahs. A lot of companies are making their own versions of wahs today. But Voxes are popular. You know, been around for decades. These are not vintage wahs. These are maybe a few years old, but these are modded wahs. This one here is a little bit less modded than this one. This one has a Hendrix mod done to it, which you can flick the switch and go from normal mode to Hendrix mode. And the person that mods these for us here basically goes through the whole wah. He guts it, and he replaces all the caps, replaces he makes a true bypass for one. So then when the wah is on, because wahs are notorious for being tone suckers, as soon as you kick a wah pedal on, it just, or rather off, it's still in the signal.
Okay.
And it's sucking your tone. Just being off, just having the cords plugged into the wah is sucking the tone right out of your guitar and your amp. So these are both made with true bypass. He makes them true bypass, so the signal passes straight through them and there's no tonal change to the amp or the guitar. And he also does all the caps are replaced in these. And the whole purpose of doing this is that a lot of wahs, if you're a big wah user, people become very attached to their wah-wah pedals when they find the right one, because there's so many different variations in wah-wah pedals. You can try a half a dozen wah-wah pedals from the same manufacturer, the same exact pedal, and all 6 will sound different. And it's just a matter of the electronics that are inside and the way they sound. And I'm a big wah-wah user, and I'm very picky about wah-wahs. And what he does to these is he takes the shrillness out of the wah.
Okay.
Usually when you use a wah-wah pedal, a toe down all the way down is very glassy, ice picky. And he removes all that with all the caps that he changes in here, and it gives it basically a mid-range boost, takes that shrillness out, and it just gives you a real throaty, vocal kind of tone that you should be getting out of a wah. A lot of people don't realize a really good wah-wah pedal that's been modified, how much better it is than a bone stock one that you just take out of the box from the music store and you use. Until you use a really good wah-wah pedal, you really don't know what a good wah sounds like.
One of the things that I've noticed as well is that not just electric guitar players, because you think when you think of overdrive and effects, you think electric guitar players, but a lot of acoustic players are using them as well. And I think back a few years ago, I actually saw Janis Ian perform, and she plays solo now. And she was using some delay and some chorusing and some other things. And the effects that she was getting it was magnificent. In fact, if you closed your eyes at one point, Bobby, I swear it was Mark Knopfler playing. And I don't think people realize, one, how good Janis Ian is as a guitar player, and two, the fact that so many acoustic guitar players can get these amazing effects.
Yeah. A lot of guitar players, whether they play electric or acoustic, are purists. They just like going from the guitar through a chord into an amp. They don't want effects pedals. They don't want any kind of tone shaping, anything. They want to hear the guitar the way it is through the amp, and that's it. And then you have the extremes where other musicians want to color their sound. They want choruses, delays, what have you. There's just limitless options today on the market for effects pedals. But it's basically, I'm a culprit of it too. I mean, I very rarely play directly into a amp without having some kind of something going on. You know, be it a chorus or a little bit of a delay or a reverb unit or something, because I personally, it hurts my ears when I just need something in between it to give it a little color. You know, I look at it like a painter. A painter doesn't paint in black and white all the time. You know, he uses different colors. So that's basically what these are. These are your color palette. This is your tone shaping, your sound shaping, and it adds, like an acoustic player, if you listen to somebody playing an acoustic guitar and they have a little bit of reverb and delay going on, it makes it sound so much bigger and so huge.
And all done trial by error, right?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. You know, and a lot of the professional musicians, they have it so down to a science that they can play anywhere and sound the way they want to sound. You know, regardless of where they are. But you know, they're a necessary evil today. But they're great tone shaping equipment. You know, especially today since people are getting away from MIDI. All the MIDI processors and the rack equipment, because people don't want to be bothered with programming it and having something go down in the middle of a performance. And the stomp boxes are just coming back, and that's why there's so many boutique stomp box companies now. You know, every time you turn around, somebody's coming out with another distortion pedal or another delay pedal or something, and people love them.
If you need some information on guitars, this is the place to come to. Guitar Repair Services in Scotch Plains. HelpMyGuitar.com is the website. Bobby, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.